Welcome, listeners, to the first episode of Season 2 of Industries Insight, the podcast where we're all about the entertainment world, such as music, publishing, marketing, film, advertising, managing video games, and more. I'm your host, Thomas Grabuznik.
And I'm Dino Ciccarelli. We are broadcasting from the WFTU studios in Dix Hills, New York.
Woo!
It's good to be back.
Yeah, Season 2.
All right, so this week we're going to talk a little bit about just a bunch of different topics, kind of like our top 5 of like music, movies, video games, etc. You wanted to start it off?
Okay, so we're gonna start with movies, right?
Yeah.
All right. So my 5th pick is Avengers: Infinity War.
that is also my 5th pick as well.
Okay.
Why did you pick it as your 5th?
As my 5th, because I mean, obviously my other movies that I picked obviously are better to me. I mean, it made 5th between like other movies like I almost said Toys R Us. Toy Story is what I was gonna say. Toy Story, the first movie, and Lion King were like up there.
Okay.
The only reason I like Avengers because it's more fresh in my head, and I really liked the story. I loved at the end the feels that you had.
Yeah.
The feels. Just the battle.
Yeah.
The Thor with his new axe now.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the reason I put it as number 5, like you said, it's, I mean, in my opinion, one of the best superhero movies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I also like the way in the movie how they incorporated comedy with stuff being so serious without giving away too much in case those listening still haven't seen Infinity War. It was a very good mix of how they did it, for making you really happy to killing the vibe and making you really sad. And then you feel the sense of like triumph and like
just a whole roller coaster of just emotions.
Yeah. Why I put it as my number 5? I mean, of course, I feel like there's a lot of movies that are better per se.
It wasn't like.
But I put it as my number 5 because it's my top superhero movie. So
yeah, so for me, it's same top live action superhero movie, and you know, it wasn't perfect. There was things that I mean I didn't pick, but other people I know picked up and everything. So that's why it's 5 for me.
Yeah. So what's your number 4?
Number 4 is Conjuring 2.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't.
So because of the new movie The Nun was coming out. Me and my mom wanted to see it, and I wanted to see it personally. Because also, the end of the summer, I was getting more into like a bit haunted stuff and everything. Don't know why.
Yeah.
So that came out, and I'm like, okay, this seems pretty cool, but they aren't. It's not like a series. Like you have to watch the other ones to get to this. But you can watch The Nun without watching the previous movies.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? Just in case, I'm just gonna watch all of them that are already out. So me and my mom watched Conjuring. We watched Conjuring 2, and then we watched Annabelle.
Okay.
Now, out of those 3, Conjuring 2 is my favorite. The storyline was awesome. The reason why, like, the spirit was there, I'm not going to go into too much detail. Why the spirit was there made a lot of sense. It was very, like, intriguing. It wasn't like a jump scare movie. That wasn't the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was very, like, theory reason, I guess I want to say it. I mean, also, out of the most recent scary movies I've seen, it's been the best one.
Yep.
So that's why that's my number 4. So what's yours?
My number 4 is it's Toy Story 3.
Good movie.
The reason why I picked it as my number 4 is because, you know, growing up, pretty much my childhood was watching Pixar movies, Nickelodeon movies, all that type of stuff.
Same.
Toy Story 2 is my favorite out of the 2 at the time. But when they came out with Toy Story 3, at first I was very hesitant just because of the huge gap in years between 2 and 3.
Understandable.
The first time I saw Toy Story 3, it was actually in one of my classes in high school. So it was a little bit after it came out. And I just fell in love with it because, you know, the story was great. I liked how the story wasn't really based on specifically like their Andy's toys. Like you can clearly tell like it was pretty much they're trying to find a way back to get to Andy's house. But the reason that I liked it so much was just because you had the involvement of new characters, like characters we haven't seen in the movies at all. You get like a new type of character, like when they switched Buzz over to Spanish.
Yeah.
Like I was dying during that part of the movie.
I mean, new villain.
Yeah, the new villain and everything like that. But what really got me was the ending when, I mean, it's kind of far, so it's not really spoilers anymore.
Yeah, it's been years.
Yeah, so
They're coming out with 4, I think, next year.
Yeah, I think they said that. So
spoil.
but yeah, so like the ending like really got me when it was just like they made it. They literally almost died just to get back to Andy.
They were trying so hard.
Yeah, and then Andy gives them to the little girl, and I was just like, oh, putting my feels. I was just like, it was really good in my opinion.
I do gotta say that was a good movie. I remember I went to go see it in theaters when it came out, and oh my god, when the big claw came down to pick them all up before they all got incinerated, I kid you not, the whole entire theater were just like,
yeah,
just kids and people, even adults. I heard more adults screaming, yes, yes, yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
I remember someone screaming, the claw. I was so happy.
Well, yeah, the same thing kind of happened this past summer when I went to go see The Incredibles 2.
I didn't see it.
Okay, so literally, I think they said it was like 14 years in between the first one and the second one, and the entire theater was just like full-grown adults. Like there was only a handful of like
Of course.
kids there, because it's not a kids movie. I mean, it is, but like it's not for them. It's for us.
They weren't waiting for how many years?
Yeah,
for
like
the
they
second
purposely
movie.
put a video before the movie saying, "Hey, listen, we know it was 14 years. We're sorry, but you know it takes a lot of work to get these movies in." Which I mean, it's a little bit. I smell a little BS on that because they gave us 3 Cars movies that nobody asked for.
Yeah, we got to think of the times and
That's true.
what was popular with kids and everything. So
That's very.
that's
true.
probably why and how many new Disney movies were coming out. You know.
Yeah. So let's get into the our number 3 picks. Personally, for number 3, I picked the movie Miracle. Have you heard of the movie Miracle?
I don't think so.
All right, so Miracle is another Disney movie. It came out, I think, in like 2004. It was based on the 1980s. I think it was maybe 84 or something like that. The Olympic hockey team. They went from being a team that was horrible. They like lost all the time. They didn't have any good players. To going on to beat, I believe it was the Russians in the Olympics. A really great movie. I believe that there was a lot of good acting. Kurt Russell was in the movie. He did a really great job. Definitely one of my favorite movies that I can go back and watch. Just that isn't like a drama or like a comedy or whatever. Like it's one of those like based on a true life stories that I can actually go back and watch
And not get bored with it.
Yeah, like it's fun every time. So, what was your number 3 pick?
My number 3 pick. You know what? My 3 and 2 are gonna switch right now.
Okay.
Okay. So, what originally was my 2, it's now my 3rd, which is the movie called American Satan.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people listening to this are not gonna know what that is because it wasn't really announced like very, very, very.
Was it in theaters
publicly.
or was it like
It was
straight to DVD?
It was in theaters, but it was in like Pacific
Gotcha. Okay.
theaters
Okay.
around. So that's why a lot of people might not know.
Do you know why they did that, or was it just like a
It's just
budgeting type thing?
Probably budgeting. But the reason why that's my favorite movie, my 3rd favorite, is because of the story was really cool because it's about the rock and roll life and you like not selling your soul, but like how a lot of rock players
The
have
things that you would do to like get famous, kind of.
yeah, like
right?
dealing with that's like they were dealing with the devil quotation mark.
Okay.
And at the end was really cool. At the end of the movie, they showed quotes from like really popular rock and roll. Like I think AC/DC was one of them. I know Ozzy
Osbourne.
Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne was one of them.
Okay.
There's other ones obviously that were like, oh, I saw the devil. The devil, was doing this to me or whatever. So it's kind of like that story. It was very good. I feel like they could have added more. There's a lot of there's a lot of cut scenes from it.
Okay.
Like if you had the DVD, you could watch them, which would made I don't get why they did that because those scenes made more sense in the movie. It kind of explained a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, I mean, also Andy Biersack, one of my favorite, like my number one artist ever, is in there. It was really cool to see him acting. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So number 2. So what was gonna be my 3? Why I switched it. So my second is Pokemon the first movie.
Okay.
Just because it's Pokemon, I love.
Was that the one that like came out in 2000, or is that a completely other movie?
That's the first very movie.
Okay.
Not 2000. That's the second movie.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's the very first, like the with Mewtwo.
Okay.
And that's my favorite because it's Pokemon. I love Pokemon. Just the nostalgic of it, with the whole Ash dying at the end always makes you cry. If anything's gonna make me cry, that scene will. I know, even though I know he's gonna come back alive, I'll still shed a tear.
Yeah.
And it's just a good movie. I mean, obviously there's mistakes and everything. There's actually a lot of mistakes in it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's
mistakes as in like regarding like the game, or like
yeah.
what do you mean?
There was like misname calls. There was like a trainer that apparently was flying to the castle that Mewtwo was like inviting people.
Okay.
This one character that was flying didn't make it.
Okay.
So did they forget to edit that person in, or did that person actually just
Gotcha.
Yeah. Kaboom. Yeah, so that's my favorite movie. I mean, it's also the best Pokemon movie out there, not just saying for nostalgic reasons, just it really is a good story told.
Yeah.
It was back when Ash was somewhat smarter, so. What was your second?
My number 2, it was a toss up. My 1 and 2s, I really had a hard time picking which one that I wanted as 1 and number 2. But my number 2 pick is the movie Goodfellas.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
All right, so it's like it's like a mafia movie kind of.
I like it already.
What I really liked about the movie is that there's definitely a lot of character growth. The storyline is great. I have it on DVD, but like the movie is so long that the movie is like the first half is on one side of the disc and then the other half is on the opposite side of the disc.
Really? It's that long?
So
wow.
Yeah. So it's a long movie, but it's a really good movie. The reason why I picked it as my number 2, it's definitely one of those movies that I can go back and watch countless times and still be not bored watching, you know what I mean? I like the movie a lot. Reason why it's my number 2 is there's a lot of death scenes in it. But yeah, that's my number 2. And then my number 1 pick, I'm actually going to go with The Breakfast Club. You and I, we've had conversations about this movie.
I've yet to see the whole freaking thing. I've seen so many scenes and clips from it. I've heard so much about it. I know so many references to it.
Yeah.
I've yet to see the whole entire movie beginning to end, and I'm kind of like disappointed about it, but also like it's what it is. But like if someone was like, "Oh, let's watch The Breakfast Club," I'd be like, "Yeah, I want to watch it." You know?
Yeah, I picked it as my number 1. Very, very entertaining movie. They have a cast of really great actors like Emilio Estevez, Molly Ringwald, just to name a few. The story is great. It's basically, I'm pretty sure it was 5 students who all were sentenced to detention. And they had to come in a Saturday morning and to serve their detention. And just being mischievous, they'll end up like, what's it called? Like escaping the detention or the library where they had their detention.
Get the freedom.
Yeah. A lot of great music in the movie. It gave us the song "Don't You Forget About Me," so I really like that song.
Don't you forget about me. Sorry.
So, what was your number 1?
My number 1 was The Greatest Showman.
Okay.
And it's the number 1. I loved it so much. The soundtrack is just amazing as well.
Yeah. I agree.
Just for me personally, after like Hugh Jackman, seeing him as Wolverine for years, really haven't seen him in like other movies. To
Dude,
see him,
I was mind blown when I saw him singing. I'm like, yo, that's really him.
yeah, I know, right? I mean, there's also like YouTube videos from like behind the scenes kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's videos that like gave me chills
Mm-hmm.
and everything. Oh my God. It's like, I love the movie. The song's amazing. Storyline's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I could watch it again. I've only watched it once, but I've heard the soundtrack about 3,000 times. I would love to watch it again. It was so, because I remember we saw the trailer when we went to go see Justice League, and seeing the trailer, I didn't say anything because I don't know if you guys were gonna like it, but in my head I was like, man, I really, really, really want to see this.
Yeah, and like I went and saw it in theaters, and like I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it because personally I'm not a big fan of musicals.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry to cut you off, but like I'm not that big fan of musicals. Like I could sit through one or whatever.
Yeah,
It's just that, like, as long as it's good songs and like very good storytelling. But this was so good.
yeah. I mean,
And just the story, like,
when I saw it, it was like I said, I didn't really know how to feel about it because I'm not a big musical fan. I figured that the movie was gonna be good because I went with a couple of friends who have seen it a couple of times before I saw it with them. So just from the beginning of the movie, like they start like right off the bat with the title track, "The Greatest Show."
yeah.
And I was instantly hooked. And then like it had the little flashback of Hugh Jackman as P.T. Barnum, and then him growing up and all that stuff, creating this the circus that he had. I thought it was a phenomenal movie.
It was. That's why it's number one on my. Because I mean, it also hit me personally on a personal level, just because like growing up loving music, wanting to do music for my life, I've always been like shut down and everything. Like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Just to see this, like the song, "This Is Me."
Yeah.
That song is like an anthem. I heard it the first time. I learned the chorus like that. I was singing the chorus by the time it was over.
Yeah.
I was standing up and I was like moving around. I couldn't help myself.
No, I agree with you. All right, so before we get on to the next topic, just wanted to remind our listeners that you are listening to an Industries Insight podcast. We are broadcasting from the WFTU studios in Dix Hills, New York.
So the next topic we're going to go into the music, and we're going to start with songs.
All right, so since you started with number 5 for movies, I'm going to start off with the songs, and we'll just continue going back and forth.
Yeah.
So my number 5 pick for songs specifically is a more recent song that came out a couple months ago called "King of the Clouds" by Panic at the Disco. Their new album that just came out, I believe it was June that it came out. When it was first dropped, I was like, man, I don't like this song. Like, I don't know what it is about it. I just don't like it. And then the song grew on me, and like I have the CD in the car, and it's just like on the ride here, it's like turn it up,
Crank it.
It's just like it's a great song. I love how in the beginning of the song it starts a cappella, and then it like the music like kicks in and everything, but then once the chorus comes in, that's like when it's like a huge crescendo, and it's just like
Power
like,
right in the
you can
face.
feel like the pulse of like them playing like when you hear it. So that's my number 5. What about you?
Number 5, for me, it's "To a Friend" by Alex is on Fire.
Okay.
Now, this song, I'm pretty sure it's old. I mean, I like just got into it. My friends were showing me new music, or not new music to me, not to the world. But this song we're rocking out. It's such a very rock and has a little screaming in it, and it just has a good idea of it to it. I mean, it's to a friend about when you're fighting a battle, you don't have to be fighting this alone. You could be fighting with us. That's like in the chorus. It's like, but yeah, that's basically the story.
Who's the artist?
Alex is on Fire.
I haven't heard of them. I'm gonna give them a listen.
Yeah.
Right.
Number 4 for me is Someone Who Cares by 3 Days Grace.
Okay. Is that a newer song or is that an older
This
song?
is from their third album, I believe. This is back with the original singer. The reason why I picked this song is because when I first heard it back in high school, it hit me, because it's about saying why is it so hard to find someone who cares? Why is it so hard to find someone to love? I think. And then it's like why is it so easy to find someone to put you down?
Yeah.
Right. That's the whole topic of the song, which really hit me back in high school because it was very true in my life. It was very hard to find friends, that were real to you, but it was so easy to find people who hated on you, especially being like bullied and everything back in high school.
Yeah.
And like I've told you this, but walking home from school, I would be listening to this song and I'd be belting it out with all my might, just basically screaming it to the streets and like just while walking, and it made me feel really good. I loved this song and I still love it to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's my number 4. So what's yours?
My number 4 is also another new, like recent song, but I just love it so much. It's so good. It's called Wherever You Are by Ben Rector. It's off his latest record that actually coincidentally came out the same day as Panic at the Disco's album.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny.
The reason why it's my favorite song on the album and my 4th overall is because just the sound. The song, it captures the sound of like 80s love ballad pop, like with the synth and the drum beat and everything. I just fell in love with the song because Ben Rector has an amazing voice.
He's he is a good artist.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard the song. I don't think you've showed it to me, or if I've heard it by myself. But from what I've heard of his other stuff, he is really good.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued.
Yeah.
To hear it.
The reason, like, why I was saying, like, with the 80s type, like, synth and drum beat, I'm a sucker for 80s music. So it's like 80s rock, 80s pop, I'll listen to all of it.
Just bring me back to the 80s.
No, I just really love how he took a modern theme, like a modern theme in today's time, and made it sound like it was made and produced in the 80s. It just boggles my mind, like the different synths that he had, that ringing snare that's like significant in all of 80s pop music. Mm-hmm. It made me feel like I was listening to like something by like Whitney Houston or any other artist like way back when. I really love that one. My number 3 pick. Now this one it's a long title, so I'm only going to do the abbreviated version. But it's The Only Difference, ... by Panic at the Disco. The reason why it's my number 3, it's really the one song that really captured me as a Panic at the Disco fan. It was the first song I ever listened to them. When I started listening to Panic, like, religiously, because like
I love that religiously.
Well, because like when I first heard of Panic at the Disco, I really only knew of I Write Sins Not Tragedies.
Yeah, that's the one I really.
And then years later, when 9 in the Afternoon came out, those were the only 2 songs I knew by them. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that they were on 2 different albums. I thought they were the same thing.
I was like, I know you mean like 3 Doors Down. I was like, only one I really knew was Kryptonite, but now I know.
Yeah.
Now I listen to all their stuff.
Yeah.
For the past like 4 weeks, so.
Yeah, so like at the time, I only knew those 2 songs, and I worked at a summer camp where one of my friends who worked there, he's like, dude, you need to listen to their music. Like they're really good. So I was
just
like,
more than that one song.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Okay. So I bought A Fever You Can't Sweat Out online, like on iTunes, and I was just like instantly hooked. Like there's an introduction track, but the only difference is the first main song on the album, and it pulled me in. Brendan Urie's voice, like back then compared to now, it's just like it's so crazy how different it is, but sounds like similar. I just really love the whole rock side that they started out with, and like they've transitioned like throughout the years. They went from like super like pop punk to psychedelic rock, which we don't like to talk about, then to like alternative rock, then pop rock, and then now they're doing more pop music with like a rock influence, I would say.
Yeah, I would say they're not fully pop.
Yeah.
You can still hear the rock in it, but it's like it's more on the pop side than the rock side.
Yeah. So like that's the main reason why I picked it as my number 3. It's the one song that really drew me in as a fan. What about you? What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Africa by Toto.
Okay.
And it is Africa. And I never really, and it's so weird because like I knew of this song. I've heard it in millions of things on the radio, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I've never loved it as much as when you started playing it and making like not jokes, but like the memes that you've sent me or whatever.
Yeah,
just made me love it more. And like you said, you cannot listen to this song and not be happy.
Yeah,
like you have like it livens you up.
Yeah,
I mean, I could disagree to that, but you know, for the most part, yes. Every time I listen to Africa, I'm like, down the rains. Oh.
Yeah. Now I got a question for you. How do you feel about the Weezer cover? Like, what are your opinions on it? You don't like it?
No.
Why not?
I heard it once. I think, when did it come out?
I think it came out in like July, maybe a little bit earlier.
I think I heard it when it came out. I heard it. I was like, nope, it's not Toto. Not Toto. Bring it back on. Because I've heard people do other covers.
Yeah.
Like on YouTube and everything. I'm sorry, but Toto, it's the best.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's compared.
Me personally, the Weezer cover, I don't think it's bad. I think they did a good job. I think they did a good job making it more modern than, of course, Africa by Toto came out in the 80s. They made it more modern and everything. The music video is strange. I don't know why Weird Al Yankovic is singing and playing.
Trying to mess with your head.
Yeah. I just thought it was a little different. Personally, Toto's version is so much better.
Of course.
And let's talk about our second picks.
Oh, okay. So my second is Natural by Imagine Dragons, which you just showed to me Friday.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, I was singing it multiple times over the weekend. I love this song. It hits me very, very much in the soul.
Yeah.
Like I feel it, you know. It's another one of those songs that you cannot like help sing out loud to it. I learned the lyrics really quickly. I know them pretty well right now.
Yeah.
Just the beat also to it. Like I didn't really expect the way they sing natural. Mm-hmm. You're natural. Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting like you're like singing it as one word, not cutting it in threes. Yeah. But it's just like, oh, man, I love it. I'm so glad that you showed it to me.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it from the WWE 2K19 trailer because it was the song that they chose for it. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, this is a good song. And I heard the voice. I'm like, this is Imagine Dragons, and I love it automatically. So, and then I heard it on the radio. I'm like, okay, so this is a newer song. So I looked into it more, and I'm like listening to it. I'm like, this is really good. And it's not just like from a music standpoint, like the words, like the lyrics it's crazy how like you can relate to them, It
hits hard.
You have a heart of stone. You gotta be so cold to make it in this world. Like, whoa.
You gotta be so cold.
Yeah.
Because you're a natural.
Yeah, and I just love in the beginning how it's no instrumentation. It's just like them singing, and then it goes into
it's very weird in the beginning. It's like,
yeah,
whoa, and then it gets in, and it's like, okay, here we go.
And the dude, the lead singer from Imagine Dragons, he just has like a really good voice.
He really does.
He has that type of voice that you can like perfectly pin out that it's him.
Yeah, I feel like every time I've heard an Imagine Dragons song, I'll be like, that's Imagine Dragons. Like,
yeah.
That's definitely them.
Yeah. So that's a good pick. My number 2 is a song by Gavin DeGraw. It's called Candy. Well, I mean, the reason why I picked it, of course, it's my favorite song that he has. It's really fun. It's fun to play, like, and perform. I went to go see Gavin DeGraw a little bit over a month ago, and I was really shocked to see that he was performing the song because this was the second song in his set.
Really?
Yeah, the first song that he played. Oh, he started off with "Best I Ever Had." He started off with that, and then they started playing "Candy," and like I turned to my sister because I went with her, and I was like, "Yes, this is my favorite song by him." I was so hyped, and it was so funny because we were in the front row, we were right by the barricade, and like we were right in front of the security guard, and I had no shame. I was like singing, I was swaying along and everything, and like you could tell that he was trying his best, like not to laugh at me.
He's just jealous,
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's the main reason why I picked it as my number 2. My number 1 song was in fact your number 3 song. So greatest song of all time is "Africa" by Toto.
Yeah, when you showed me your list, I was like, I knew it was gonna be on there, and I figured it was gonna be one, but like,
and you didn't expect that it was gonna be number 1.
no, I figured. I was kind of hoping it'd be lower because mine was 3. You know.
Yeah.
It'd been cool if we're both 3. That before you continue, like the reason why I put it as 3 because, like I said, it's a very good song. Mm-hmm. Obviously, these other 2 songs I put ahead of it is because I've heard them a lot more right now, more recently, and they're like I really got into them.
Yeah.
It's the only reason why they're like ahead of Africa, but that's why I put Africa in the middle. Like I was thinking about imagine 5 through 1, like.
You want to put it as your happy medium?
Yeah, my happy meat. There you go. That's a good way to put it. Sorry, you can continue.
No, it's my number 1. I don't care what anyone says. "Africa" by Toto is the greatest song of all time. Like you said earlier, it always makes you happy. I've never ever listened to the song and have gone from being upset from when it started to the end still be upset. You know, that song is it's just so good. You know, like from the instrumentation to the lyrics to the singers, it's just like that harmony in the chorus. You know,
Yeah.
Africa is a part of the holy trinity of all music. And the greatest music of all time, the top 3 songs: 1, "Africa" by Toto; 2, "Take on Me" by AHA; and 3 is "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley. I'm telling you, it's the holy trinity of music, the 3 greatest songs of all time.
I agree.
Yeah. So
like Africa, like also like with me is like it's very has good memories to it.
Yeah.
Like we've played it in my room before, and I had this. You made me to sing the high pitch, which made my like voice hurt for a little bit. I mean the memes, also my birthday
the
gift,
memes, yes.
the birthday gift I just gave you for.
Yeah, you see, my birthday was a couple days ago, and Thomas got me this T-shirt for my birthday, and it's a silhouette of Africa. Like all of the lyrics are printed on it, kind of like a newspaper. I loved it so much. Literally, I took it out of the package, and I was 1, dying laughing because of how great it was, and 2, it's just a beautiful song on a beautiful shirt. So
Yep. And how many compliments you got the next day?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like, "Oh, I like your shirt, shirt." And I was like,
Yep.
"Yeah."
All right. So then, before we get into albums,
You're listening to an Industries Inside podcast. We are broadcasting from the WFTU studios in Dix Hills, New York. So now we're going to talk about our top 5 albums. So my number 5 is "The End Is Where We Begin" by 1,000 Foot Crutch.
okay.
So I got into them about the beginning of last year or last school year. Got really into their song "Courtesy Call." So the "Courtesy Call" is part of this album, and I like it so much because it's all songs. It's not a concept record because all songs. It's not like a story, but like all the songs go into each other very well.
Okay.
Like when I first heard this
Like
song,
the songs like go into each other.
Yeah.
Like the one song ends and goes into the next song. Okay.
basically, and there's a few like there's an intro song. Like there's an introduction and an outroduction as well. And also there's a song right before the courtesy call, like the warning call, I think it's called. All the songs are good. There's also a song called "Down," which I love a lot. It's about people telling you you can't change the world with a microphone or whatever, with a mic, and this person like, "Oh, thank you for pushing me down," you know.
Mm-hmm.
It just lets me get back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another reason why I like this album. Also, I listened to it so much in a row, got them all stuck in my head. So yeah, that's it's at 5 because there's other ones that are, I believe, are a little bit better.
Gotcha.
So what's your 5?
My number 5 pick is Vessel by 21 Pilots.
Okay.
When I started listening to 21 Pilots, I came in during the when I was first introduced to 21 Pilots was during the Vessel era. But when I started listening to like more of their music and not just like, oh, I know of them, was during the Blurry Face era. But going back and listening to Vessel, there's so many good songs on that album. Like, of course, the majority of them were like re-recorded from a previous album that they had. It's just there's so many good tracks on this record. Like so many good songs, like from Holding On to You, to of course Car Radio.
Of course, Kurt. Yeah.
Yeah, House of Gold. Migraine is my favorite song off the record. Yeah, that one's my personal favorite off the record, just because the music is great. And I also like how pretty much like when they write their music, they write about topics that no one wants to talk about, you know? Like Tyler Joseph actively writes about like depression. Basically, like you need to like talk about your issues and not just keep it all bottled up inside and everything, you know? I just love their music so much. And I'm not saying that Blurry Face is bad because I like Vessel more. I just enjoy that good old Vessel. But yeah, that's my number 5 pick. My number 4 pick is actually a little bit older. This is from 1999. Is Millennium by the Backstreet Boys.
Oh.
Yeah.
Taking it back there.
Taking it back. I love this record because, of course, back when I was younger, my mom was and currently is a big Backstreet Boys fan. But when I was younger, the Backstreet Boys are really the first musical influence that have made me get into music. I just love all their music. Like it's there's so many songs that are just so good. Like on that record, you have Larger Than Life. You have Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely. That's my favorite one off the record. You have The Perfect Fan that makes me cry every single time I hear it. And then of course the iconic I Want It That Way.
Yeah.
It's just like they're so good, and like so many people are like, yo, they're bad, they're trash and everything. They're a bad boy band and everything. It's like, no, these guys are good. Like
they're a good boy band.
Yeah.
Out of boy bands that came like after, unless I'm missing one, I feel like they are the best.
Yeah.
I'm never really was into them. I mean, I've had a lot of this. I've had a few of their songs. If they came on, I wouldn't like, oh, shut it off, kind of thing. But yeah, I like their song. I like their music.
What was your number 4 pick?
My number 4, we mentioned it in the movies, is The Greatest Showman soundtrack. That's my 4th number. My 4th album. It's my 4th because obviously there's 3 more that I kind of believe they're a little bit better just on the music aspect because of my taste.
Okay.
But it made number 4 because, again, it's The Greatest Showman. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like the first song, the intro, is amazing.
Yeah.
Especially at the end when Zac Efron came in.
Yeah.
That nice change.
Yeah.
Got This Is Me.
What's your favorite song off the record? Off the soundtrack.
This Is Me.
Okay.
That's my number 1. The other side, that's a 3rd for me because my 2nd is From Now On.
That's my number 1. From Now On's my favorite off that album.
Was my number 1 until I really listened to This Is Me, because This Is Me just of the story, just of the feelings I get from it. But From Now On is my 2nd because of a video I've watched of Hugh Jackman when he like rehearsing when he had
I've
like
seen that video.
surgery on his
in his nose,
his nose, and he like said,
and they told him not to sing, and he sang like, anyway. Nope. Yeah, that video was great.
Chills. But that's why This Is Me, because if you watch that video, oh my god, I get more chills. Like I almost start crying almost.
Yeah, I really like that record.
So
too.
that's why it's my 4, because three more that were just hit me more because of the type of music I like.
Okay.
All right. So number 3 for me was "Time of My Life" by Three Doors Down. I mentioned this before, but Three Doors Down. Listen to them religiously right now. Got back into them. I used to know them back then when like with Kryptonite and all that.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting back into them. Oh my god, and I love it. Why I picked "Time of My Life" is because this album I've heard so many times. All these songs I listen to, I could listen to this album on repeat basically.
Yeah.
If I can't listen to this album on repeat without skipping a song, it's not like all these albums I could listen through on repeat without having to skip a song ever. Mm-hmm. "Time of My Life" is good. When You're Young is very very good lyrically. Mm-hmm. "Round and Round" it's so catchy. Heaven, which is my number one song right now. It's very corny, but it's very good.
Yeah.
It's they had a good way of selling it. Race for the Sun, "Back to Me," "Every Time You Go," "What's Left," "On the Run" is very good. "She Is Love," "My Way," "Believer," and then you have 2 acoustic versions of "When You're Young" and "Every Time You Go," and then "Silent Remains" is a very. At first, I thought it was part of a different album because it kind of sounded really different, but it's a very good ending to the album.
Yeah.
And like I said, this beats "The Greatest Showman" just because of the type of music and that I've been listening to like religiously. So
Yeah.
What's your 3?
My number 3 pick is "Unorthodox Jukebox" by Bruno Mars. This is definitely my favorite album by Bruno Mars. I enjoy it so much. It's like there's so many good tracks on it. Of course, you got "Locked Out of Heaven." You have "Natalie." You have "Moonshine," which is my favorite off the record. And I bought the deluxe version on iTunes, so it's like you get the extra songs. You have an acoustic version of "Young Girls," an acoustic version of "Gorilla." You have a remix version of "Moonshine," which again is so good. It's just like Bruno Mars is just such a talented guy.
He is.
And he's a great singer. He's a great performer. He's a great entertainer. Every single time that I've seen him perform, like either on TV or like live video or anything, it's never failed. Like I've always seen myself enjoying music. He puts on a good show. My number 2 pick is "Vices and Virtues" by Panic! At the Disco. It's my favorite Panic record. When "Pray for the Wicked" came out this year, I was like, ooh, we got good competition and everything. For it to be one of my favorite albums by them. But "Vices and Virtues" is just still my number 1. It's just there's so many good songs on it. Like "Hurricane" is my favorite song off the regular album. I've bought this album 3 times. I bought the CD
3 times.
Yeah, I bought the CD, and then I bought the deluxe edition on iTunes because there was more tracks to it, like bonus tracks, not like acoustic or whatever. And
just
then
bonus in general.
Yeah, like I think there was like 4 bonus tracks, and then I bought the I forget which deluxe package it was, but I think it may have been I don't remember. But I got there were 3 more songs that I actually just learned that they had 3 more songs off that record this year. Like a couple months ago, I found them out and I was like, this is really, really good. So like "Turn Off the Lights" is one of the songs off of the deluxe edition, which is one of my favorite. "The Calendar," such a great song. "The Ballad of Mona Lisa" is just like, that's the song that you envision with Vices and Virtues.
Yeah.
It's just overall a good album. Brendan Urie, he has a crazy, crazy voice. But yeah, what was your number 2?
My number 2 is "I Am Human" by Escape the Fate.
Okay.
This is the recent album. Basically, a lot of these songs hit me good in the heart. A lot of them are fun. I love singing out loud. Love screaming them in the car. Oh. Just headbanging, rocking out a lot. Especially their song "I Am Human." very corny because of the lyrics, but very, very well done. And my number one is Veil by Black Veil Brides, their newest record that came out in January, I believe. This is number one because it's Black Veil Brides, my number one artist ever. And I picked Veil from this because, like all these other albums, I can listen to this whole album without skipping a single song. All their songs are very good, I believe, lyrically to some point. Their song "Wake Up," right? Yeah, "Wake Up." They did a music video and everything. It was very, very, very good. Made the crowd, the audience, very excited for this album to come out, and I was not disappointed when it first came out. I had it pre-ordered. Literally, the night came out, I was sitting in my room listening to it with headphones, just headbanging, trying so hard not to like sing or whatever, or scream or whatever. So, yep, that's basically my number one.
And finally, my number one is "Sweeter" by Gavin DeGraw. Earlier, I said my favorite Gavin DeGraw song is "Candy." This is the record that song is on. I just love this record because it's fun to listen to. "Candy," of course, my favorite song. This song is the album that his more famous "Not Over You" is on. It's like those are both two good songs. My favorite song, my favorite slow song on the record is "Spell It Out." It's the last song on the record. It's just so good, you know, like that song is like the type of song that you like sitting next to like a fire or something, and like you're just in your feels.
Or like you're looking at the window.
Yeah.
While you're not while you're driving, but like when you're in a car or whatever, and you're looking out the window, just like
that's good. "Radiation" is a good song too. But yeah, it's just like it also has a good flow. Like it starts off great with "Sweeter." Like right off the bat, you have like the "Sweeter" riff, which is like dun 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 dun. It's like it's just so good. It gets you like hyped up, and then like it slows down a little bit, and then you got "Radiation" where it like pulls you right back up, like upbeat and everything. But yeah, that's definitely my top album, like listening to
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also "Sweeter" live is really good because he's just great live.
I don't know, never seen him live, but I can imagine him.
I've seen this man 3 times live, and
I've seen Black Veil Brides twice, Andy once live. So 3.
Yeah. Every single time that I've seen Gavin DeGraw live, I've never left the show unhappy. And it's like he always sings songs that I don't expect, like how at this past show I said how he performed "Candy." I wasn't expecting it. The last show I saw him 2 years ago, he sang "Spell It Out." So I was like, wow, like that song wasn't even like a single or anything. So it was just like, it's really good. You are listening to an Industries Insight podcast. We are broadcasting from the WFTU studios in Dix Hills, New York. All right, let's get into our final topic of the day. We're going to talk about our top video games of all time. We're going to do top 3 for this one. I kind of had a hard time coming up with the top 5 video games.
My number 1 was very hard to pick.
Yeah.
Not because of the rest of them, it's just because of the type of game it is.
Yeah.
You'll
there's just so many good games that you can't just pick which one's your favorite, you know?
Not just that, but like you'll understand when we get to it. So,
all right. So my top, my top
3.
third video game of all time is actually a game I actually just started playing. For my birthday, I had got the new Spider-Man game for the PlayStation 4. So that's my number 3. Back when I was younger, I used to have the old Spider-Man games, like the original Spider-Man and then Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. Those 2 games were just so great. Spider-Man is one of my favorite Marvel characters. So playing
same.
So playing a video game with his likeness is in my opinion, always going to be fun. So when I got the game, once I got home, I popped it in the PlayStation, downloaded it, and I started playing. And I've been playing like nonstop. Like I just got the game. I'm already 30% done with the game because it's just so fun. Like the swing mechanics in the game is just it's so like fluid. Like
Easier now.
it's so smooth and like there's so many things you could do while like swinging.
That's cool.
Like in the game, which I like, because it's kind of like the older games is where, you build up like these attribute points that you can like buy different things for like your swinging and also for like shooting webs and stuff like that. So like the more you upgrade them, the faster you swing. The more cool things you could do. Like you can do like different tricks like while you're swinging, and when you come back up, you can do like they call it I think it's a spider roll, and it's like cool like different tricks like what you can do while swinging. The gameplay is beautiful. This game looks, oh my god,
From what I've seen, it looks beautiful.
dude, it's so nice. And like there's so many suits in the game that you can unlock. I finally unlocked the Homecoming suit, or the Stark suit as it's called. The story has been great. Some bits have been a little difficult, but it's such a great game. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is also a Spider-Man game,
Okay.
which is Spider-Man Friend or Foe.
Okay.
Now, this is my number 3 only because of just nostalgic reason. We always, and me and my brother, when we played video games, we really got into it. And we're very like action-minded kids, really.
Yeah.
That when we played video games, we like kind of pretend that we got like sucked into the game.
Yeah.
Like because you've seen those on TV shows or whatever, where they get stuck in the game and you have to like win to get out or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why, because we did that a lot in that game. Prowler was the character I always played because my brother played Spider-Man. I had no choice in that. But Prowler, got really good at him. I learned so many new moves over time.
Mm-hmm.
And Prowler became very good to me. So nostalgic reason, just very fun game. Some hard levels or whatever because bosses.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good. My favorite kind of like action superhero game like that. So my number 2 is Super Smash Bros. All of them, Melee, Brawl. I haven't played the new one.
Okay. Well, the new one didn't come out yet.
No, the one for Wii U.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm like, that one doesn't come out until December.
No, the Ultimate. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah.
The characters like Roy.
Woo.
I like Melee and Brawl. I kind of like Melee more just because of Roy was in it. But in Brawl, I played the Pokemon trainer.
Melee is the one that was on GameCube, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Roy was so good. I loved playing Roy. Ike was also good in Brawl, but he's not as good. Like I said, in Brawl, I played the Pokemon trainer a lot.
Okay.
Just because it's kind of like 3-in-1 was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite game. Play with my cousins, friends, family all the time.
Yeah.
So that's right. That's my number 2.
My number 2 is actually a sports game. Now, I'm a huge wrestling fan. My number 2 pick is WWF No Mercy for the Nintendo 64. This game,
Nintendo 64?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, personally, I don't like the Nintendo 64 controller. But the game, it's just so great because like, what's that?
I learned on that controller how to do more than just
Yeah.
in games.
Yeah. I mean, the game is just so fun because there's different modes, of course. You have your exhibition matches where you could play a whole bunch of stuff. You have survival mode, which is pretty much like the Royal Rumble, but you literally have to fight everyone. Like they're all coming in to make sure that you lose. It's not like they're trying to win. They're trying to get you out, right? So there's that. They have... I'm not too sure what it's called. I don't remember what it was called, but it's kind of like a Road to WrestleMania mode that they have in like the more recent games, like SmackDown versus Raw from a couple years ago, where basically you pick a wrestler and then you have like a whole storyline based on that upcoming year. where you get to talk about. I mean, you get to go through a different series of matches. And what I really liked about it is that it's story mode. It was affected whether you win or lose the match. So like, there'll be some times where your match objective is to win the match, and you have like a couple of tries to win the match. But some of the matches, they're not affected. So say if like you're in a championship, I'm pretty sure for one of them that you're in a championship match right off the bat. If you win or lose, the story changes and goes in that direction. So I think that's
cool.
really, really cool.
That's very interesting.
So you can play it as many times and get different outcomes. And you can do it with the created wrestler. You could do it with a already in the game wrestler. The creator wrestler was a little wonky because, you know, like back in the 90s, it was
graphics.
Like it was revolutionary to have like a 3D wrestling game.
Whoa.
Yeah. But they had a really cool like unlockable superstars. Like you were able to unlock Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels, just to name a few. And that's my all-time favorite wrestling game. Now, my number one favorite video game of all time is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. The reason why this is my favorite game, and you know, I love GTA. GTA 5 is just so, it's a good game. It looks great and everything. The controls are so easy and everything. But I love GTA San Andreas just because it's so fun, you know, like I was playing it.
I know a lot of people who say that.
Yeah. Like the story was fantastic. Like I really liked Vice City as well. Just the controls. Oh my God. The controls for Vice City were so bad. Like going back, like I had gotten a new copy of both San Andreas and Vice City. And just going back and playing Vice City, I was like, oh man, these controls are terrible. Because like I'm so used to playing the GTA 5 controls. But San Andreas, I feel like they were a lot easier to like get accustomed to. The storyline was great. There's so many different things that you could do in the game. I just love it. And what's your number one?
So my number one is Pokemon Platinum.
Okay, why's that?
Oh, my number one is Pokemon in general, just all the Pokemon main series games, because they're all, you know, they're all similar to an extent.
Yeah.
But Platinum is my favorite game. Favorite gen was Gen 3, but for game-wise, Platinum, just because the Pokemon are really cool. The graphics are awesome. Especially on the DS now. The storyline with Giratina being like the devil of Pokemon, which I don't really call him the devil. He's just from the distortion world. Mm-hmm. Very, very good story-wise. Very like creepy, and like the way the graphics were for a game for 10-year-olds.
Okay.
It was very.
What platform was this game on?
It was the DS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was not continuation. It was another copy of like Diamond and Pearl, but yeah, like the Pokemon really cool, graphics awesome, storyline cool, Giratina being really creepy and awesome. Never didn't use it, but having one,
yeah,
Giratina is freaking awesome. Very awesome, special Pokemon. It's just storyline. I mean, also I recently beat it beginning this year, and my team was awesome throughout.
All right.
Especially my champion battle against my champion battle against her strongest Pokemon.
Okay.
One shot at it without a crit with my Pokemon being lower level, which has never happened that I know of, to me at least.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see that happen. All right, so we had the top 5 movies, top 5 songs, top 5 albums, and top 3 video games. If you guys want to see more of these type of
episodes,
and if you want to see other people's opinions, let us know either by adding us on Twitter, adding us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, or if you're listening to this on YouTube, write it in the comments below. So,
and also let us know your top 5 for any of the topics that we discussed today,
or just the top one of each.
Yeah,
anything.
We'd like to hear what our listeners
Feedback.
our listeners' feedback. So
Exactly.
right.
All right. So that's the end of the first episode of season 2 of an Industries Inside podcast. Make sure to go follow us on Facebook and Instagram to get the updates. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like our YouTube page to listen to the podcast if you missed it. So until next time, I'm your host, Thomas Grabuznik,
And I am Dino Ciccarelli.
and we'll talk to you guys later. Signing off.